Hello and welcome. Come meet me on your mat for a step-by-step guide on how to achieve crow in your practice. So if you haven't already checked out my previous video on progressions and techniques for arm balances and inversions, I highly suggest checking that video out first prior to this one, as it will just be a really great way to warm up your wrists, your arms, your core before you try any arm balances or inversions in your practice. So if you already are warmed up and ready to go, come meet me on your mat in a Malasana yogi squat. So for Malasana, you can start from a downward facing dog. Walk your feet in towards your hands, and then step your feet out wide as your mat. Your heels are going to turn in and your toes are going to turn out. So then you bend your knees and your bum sits in between your heels and your elbows are pushing the knees apart as you lift your crown of your head and lengthen your spine. Palms can stay at heart center to find the broadness of your collarbones and openness of your chest. Now, if coming into Malasana so low and so deep doesn't feel right in your body, stay up a little bit higher in a bit of a squat with an elbows on your thighs and sitting your bum and your weight back. So this is a really great progression to get into your crow pose because you're just working on widening your knees and finding that elevation of your heart. Once you've sat in this for a few breaths, you're going to place both of your hands flat onto the ground, and you want the hands you want the fingertips really wide. The hands are shoulder distance apart. Now, the first thing to get into crow is that you really want to hike your bum up super high. So come out of your Malasana, turn the toes in, and then bend your elbows so that they're narrow towards one another. You don't want the elbows flaying out wide. You want to tuck them in. You then want to come onto your tippy toes. Your heels lift from the mat. Keep your elbows narrow as you rest your kneecaps on your upper arm bones. Because then that bend of your elbows creates a shelf for your knees to sit on. Now, really, it's about a transfer of your weight forward past your fingertips. So just try that out. Rock back, heels to ground. Rock forward, shoulders past fingers, heels lift. And just get used to what that feels like, transferring the weight into your hands. And then give your finger pads a bit of a grip every time you lean forward. So you want to almost make spider hands with your fingers. So you're like gripping the floor with the finger pads, and it will almost be like you're lifting the fingers and then finding a little cup shape of the palm onto the ground, like a suction cup of your hand to the ground. So then as you continue to just rock forward and back in this shape, add on with a bit of strength. So every time you lean the shoulders forward, you draw the belly in. It's like a sucking in every time you lean forward. It's a belly to spine. And then you continue to add on. Every time you lean forward, maybe you pick up one heel and squeeze it into your bum, and then you rock back. You rock forward again, you squeeze the opposite heel in towards your bum, and then you rock back. Try that one more on each time. Right heel in, lean forward, rock back. Keep your elbows in. Rock forward, left heel in, squeeze, and pause. Rock back. Good. Take a moment to give your wrists a bit of a break. Take the tops of your hands to the floor. Fingers and thumbs are spread out. And then you just give the wrists a really nice stretch like so. Good, and then really you get to try that rocking forward and back as many times as you need. And then you'll get used to that bearing of weight on your arms. And again, it's really just a transfer of weight of your shoulders past your fingertips and a hug of your belly in. It's a lot of core strength, not necessarily arm strength. And then maybe eventually both toes will lift. So maybe the next time you make that shelf of kneecaps to upper arms and you rock forward, both feet may lift from the floor.
and you keep your gaze forward, past the fingertips. You're lifting your bum up. Your elbows are narrowing in. Your upper body is round, and your navel pulls into the spine. With control, you bring both feet back down to the ground. Now, I know it can be scary to kind of rock forward and feel like the floor is quite far away from you. So you can use a block, or you can even use a pillow, but you can bring the floor closer to you. So use that as your anchor point for your gaze, that trajectory of where you're going. You can use it a little bit higher. So place your hands back down onto the ground, grip the floor with your finger pads, lift your bum up, bend your elbows, narrow towards one another, create the shelf with your arms, look to that anchor point, and then maybe you bring your nose a little bit closer, and then the floor doesn't feel quite so far away as you lean forward and you float both of your feet from the mat. Amazing job. You can come back to this video at any time to play with your crow pose and these progressions. I really do find having that little bit of distance taken away from you is so helpful with a pillow, a block, or anything else that might be helpful. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you again soon.